Put out the fire. Ooh, put out the fire. Together we rise. Together we inspire.
Welcome to the Planet B podcast, where truth, transformation, and faith converge. Join us as we flip the script on ecological despair, guided by Dr. Sailesh Rao's vision for a compassionate, rewilded vegan world. Let's begin the journey to the greatest transformation in human history.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of the Planet B podcast, which is titled Our Planetary Home on Fire. Dr. Rao, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, and thank you for this opportunity to do a deep dive on the chapters in the book.
Dr. Rao, I have to say, this is one of my favorite chapters of the book because the 9 planetary boundaries are so important, and I think, at least for me, someone outside of the science side of this, it was such an eye-opener to see the environmental impact of Planet A.
Right, yeah, and thank you for that. Yeah, it's all based on the Planetary Health Check report. And I think when I wrote this, there were only 6 planetary boundary transgressions. And this year, the 7th one got transgressed as well. But it's in the same order in which I wrote.
Right. So in the opening paragraph of chapter 4, you make a bold claim. You say, quote, "Our planet is truly on fire." What do you mean by this statement?
If you think of a fire, it's a transformation that's happening, right? So something is burning and the temperature is really, really high. Now, at any given point in time, there are fires going on around our planet, right? And it's been that way, not from the beginning. It's not like we just, it's just happening today, okay, like that. But we have increased the number of fires on the planet. Humans are causing, I think, 95% of the fires on the planet through human. Yeah. So if you look at all the wildfires, 95% of the wildfires are coming from human sources, not from natural sources, not from lightning. So we have increased the fires on the planet. So our planet is truly on fire. Okay? Now, have we gotten to a point of increasing the fires so much that nature is amplifying the fires herself? And that's where we are. It's that critical point where we say the fires that we started, the fires that we created, is too much. And we need to hold back, and we start bringing back the greenery. Because the rainforest does not catch fire. Even if you try to set it on fire, it won't catch fire. But you have to cut down all the trees and dry them and then burn them. And that's what we've been doing in the rainforest, in order to turn the rainforest into grazing land for our cows, or turn the rainforest into land in which you can grow soya beans. We have to cut down the trees, wait for them to dry out, and then burn them. Or pour some, gasoline on them and burn them after you cut them down.
Right. So you've been working in the climate arena since 2006. So in 2026, that'll be 20 years.
Right.
So over the 20 years that you've been working in climate, how has the situation changed? How has the climate crisis changed?
Well, climate to me is a symptom. It's actually there's a larger issue that we need to address. Okay, and that larger issue is basically planet A's unsustainable human engineered systems that are in conflict with the life support systems. So it's a systems issue. That's what I've been studying. And right from the outset, I was looking at climate as the fever that the Earth has. Whereas there is a cancer, there's a heart disease, there's a diabetes, there's all these other issues that we need to address. And it's really about a lifestyle transformation that needs to happen for us to be in alignment with the life support systems of the planet. So 20 years, I've been watching it get worse and worse and worse. And I can see the exponential growth in the disease that the Earth has. But I know that all of this can be reversed if we just live differently than the way we are living today.
Right. And then it seems like scientists kind of put a framework around planetary issues in 2009 with the 9 planetary boundaries. So do you mind sharing the origin of the 9 planetary boundaries and how they came about?
Yeah, the 9 planetary boundaries were introduced at the Stockholm Resilience Center and the Potsdam Institute of Climate Research. And Stockholm Resilience Center is in Sweden, and the Potsdam Institute for Climate Research is in Germany. And they wrote this paper, it's a very important paper, in 2009, proposing these 9 planetary boundaries as a way to look at the life support systems of the Earth. So these planetary boundaries, if you are in the green zone, in the planetary boundaries, the Earth is healthy. If you are in the orange zone or yellow zone, then it has gone outside the safe zone, but it's not yet alarming. If it's orange, it's becoming alarming. If it's in the red zone, it means that it can potentially kill life as we know it on the planet. Okay, and then they had the purple zone, which means that it's at a high risk of destabilizing the life support systems of the planet. So they color coded it. Now these are all estimates based on science, based on watching the systems get worse and worse and worse over time. And you say, okay, maybe we are in the purple zone on this. Maybe we are in the red zone on something. So they color coded everything. And this is the best we have of system science to analyze the life support systems of the planet. So think of the systems engineers and these system scientists who are analyzing the life support systems of the planet as the planetary health doctors.
I like that. Yeah.
So they are planetary doctors who are saying the planet has diseases. And these are the 7 diseases that the planet has. Okay, so they have come up with 7 planetary boundary transgressions.
Sure. So if you don't mind, let's go through title
Yeah.
and the definition of each of the 9.
Right.
So start
Okay.
wherever that you'd like.
Now I start in the same order that's there in the chapter. It's basically in the order of importance of what we have done today. Okay. So the most important, the one that we have impacted the most, is biosphere integrity. So it is the integrity of the biodiversity on the planet, on all the wildlife on the planet, and it's dying out. And as we discussed in the last chapter, 90% of wild animals are gone. Extinction rates of species is estimated to be 1,000 to 10,000 times the background rate.
So
So
can you explain what that means, please?
it means that in nature, if we were not doing our thing, if we were just observers and not doing anything to the planet, you would observe species dying out and new species being born at the rate of something like 0.1 to 1 per year per million species. So that's the rate. Okay.
Right.
So anywhere from 0.1 to 1. That's how much new species will be born every year for every 100 million species on the planet. And that's how much species will die out. Now we are killing something like 100 to 1,000 species a day,
Wow. A day. So that's every single day.
every single day. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So we are killing them at a rate that's 1,000 to 10,000 times the background rate.
So all of that is fueled by humanity's Planet A systems.
Correct. How are we doing that? Well, we wipe out an entire millions of acres of forest. So think of how fast we are destroying forests. Now, there are unique species that die out when we wipe out a forest. And that's why the estimate is 100 species per day that we're wiping
And
out,
it,
right?
and I know that you've mentioned, Dr. Rao, that those are just, I'm sorry if I misterm it, but those are the species that we can see. But there are many more potentially that the microorganisms or the smaller species that aren't even counted in that.
Correct. These are the species that we know of, meaning we know that there are so many microorganisms, species, and so on. So these are estimates that people have made, scientists have made on how many species there are in a given area of a forest. There may be other species that we don't know about. Again, science keeps progressing, right? We understand more and more. So before we even understand something, before we even understand how a system is put together, we are destroying it. To me, a sign of intelligence is the ability to adapt to changing environmental circumstances. So now we have to show that we are truly an intelligent species, because right now we are not acting like we're intelligent. We are acting like a child throwing a tantrum.
Yeah.
I want that, I want this,
Mm.
and grabbing it because we can. Right? That's how we are acting.
It's very true.
So we have to now become more of an adult species. Okay? That's gotten over the tantrum phase, the teenager phase of showing how strong we are and all this, and becoming more mature, an adult species that's addressing the problems it's facing. Because we cannot expect any other species to solve these problems. See, once you analyze these problems and you understand as a doctor, a planetary health doctor, you understand what the planet is going through. Yeah, you realize that it's only us who can solve it. So you
Right.
understand the importance of our species. I say we found our place in the ecosystems of the planet. Until now, we thought this is just a plaything, right? We can do whatever we want. The planet will be fine, and we are just enjoying ourselves on the planet. Okay? Those who can are enjoying themselves. There are others who are suffering
Right.
because of our enjoyment.
Right.
And now we realize that those who are enjoying ourselves, as we learn more and more, we realize how critical it is that we use our knowledge not for enjoyment, but for actually supporting the planet. Now, the biosphere integrity and novel entities has both been rated as high risk of destabilizing the life support systems of the planet. Now, what is this novel entities? We human beings have created new molecules, new substances that the earth had never seen before, with our chemical processes, with our industrial processes. And we have been pouring them out into the earth. For example, dioxin. Dioxins are some of the strongest carcinogens known to man. And dioxins are produced when we bleach hydrocarbons. So what are hydrocarbons? Anything in life is a hydrocarbon. Okay. So we take a tree and we turn that tree's bark into pulp in order to make paper.
Hmm.
Now that pulp is a hydrocarbon. It's basically water and the tree all ground up. Now, usually a tree is brown. But we have a system on planet A that says that white is pure and brown is dirty.
So strange.
Yeah. Right? So we all prefer, the system prefers everything to be white
At all costs.
at all costs, including taking that brown pulp and bleaching it with chlorine in order to make it white.
Hmm.
So in our paper mills, we are routinely bleaching wood pulp to turn it into white paper. And when you bleach a hydrocarbon, you put chlorine on a hydrocarbon, the result is dioxin. So our paper mills are all pouring dioxin into the environment, into the atmosphere. And these are some of the strongest carcinogens known to man. And this is why we situate paper mills far away from cities or in poor neighborhoods in cities. Because, we don't want the rich people breathing the dioxin. But guess what happens? That dioxin goes up into the atmosphere and then it comes down in the rain. Everywhere. Okay? And it's now in the plants. Because it's in the water. When it comes down in the rain, it's in the water. And the plants are absorbing the water and they're filtering the water. So they're storing the dioxin in their trunks, in their stalks. The trees have it in their trunks, the plants have it in their stalks. And then we feed the plants to the animals. And the animals store the dioxin in their fat tissues. They concentrate it and store it in their fat tissues. The statistic is that the amount of dioxin you get in 1 liter of milk is greater than the amount of dioxin that the cow could have breathed standing next to a paper plant in 1 year.
Wow.
Because that's how concentrated it becomes over time. And so we are marinating the earth in all this chemical pollution. So the amount of chemical pollution we put into the earth every year is 220 billion tons per year. A ton is the weight of an elephant. It's 1,000 kgs. It's 2,200 pounds. So 220 billion tons is 220 billion elephants worth of chemical pollution going out into the environment every year.
I mean, that's just no words like for something like that. It's just shocking.
And I look around and say, what am I buying that causes that? Of course, toilet paper, all these things count. Right? That's where it comes from. We have to now re-engineer everything. First of all, to say, hey, brown is okay.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be white. Okay?
Certainly.
Right? Accept things as they are, as much as possible. And then figure out how to minimize how much chemical you have to put into the environment for our needs. If you put chemicals out into the environment, make sure that it is already natural chemicals that the earth knows what to do with. Because these are all novel chemicals. And the earth is marinating in these novel chemicals. And animals are dying because of that. Life is dying because of that.
All right. So now let's go to the third, which is nitrogen and phosphorus loading. So what exactly does that mean?
It means, the earth has a process for cycling nutrients. It takes, it composts things. How does it compost things? Well, It takes something that's dying and then it retains part of that in the soil and the rest it sends up into the atmosphere. And there's a cycle for nitrogen that happens as a result of that. Nitrogen is fundamental building block for proteins, right? So there are nitrogen fixing plants that take nitrogen from the atmosphere, they fix nitrogen, and that becomes input for other plants in the soil.
People will say nitrogen is healthy. It helps vegetables grow and things like that.
Well, basically it provides the protein that's in the vegetables. It
Okay.
provides the protein that's in the plants. All plant foods have protein. Okay, so the protein is basically a nitrogen building block. Now, when a plant dies, that nitrogen goes back into the atmosphere. Okay. Now, what we have been doing is we are pouring nitrogen fertilizers on plants to make them grow fast. And that we are pouring so much that there is an excess runoff that happens. So all the excess from the soil runs off in the water into water bodies. And it over-fertilizes the bottom of rivers and the bottom of the ocean at the mouths of rivers. And it causes the plants to grow so fast that the oxygen in the water gets depleted. When the oxygen in the water gets depleted, the fish die. So it's like, anything in excess is poison. We all know
Right.
that, So
Yeah.
we are causing an excess of nitrogen to flow into the water and it's poisoning the water literally, and the fish are dying because of that.
And where's the phosphorus then coming from?
It's also from the same fertilizers. Right?
From the
Nitrogen
same.
and phosphorus, yeah. So they've estimated that the nitrogen cycle has been impacted far worse than the phosphorus cycle. But otherwise, both of them are done through the same mechanism of creating artificial fertilizers and growing the plants really fast.
And then that would majorly stem back to animal agriculture.
Correct,
Right?
yeah. Because half of the crops that we grow are going to feed our animals. And the animals are doing a 39-to-1 reduction in the food that they get before it comes to our
Unbelievable.
plate. Yeah. So if we go vegan, we can immediately cut down on our nitrogen and phosphorus use by at least half. Right? And eventually, I think we need to convert all our agricultural processes into organic processes, with natural nitrogen fixing soil. So basically, go back to the way our ancestors used to do things, like, grow a bean, corn, and squash together, the three sisters
Right.
together.
Yeah.
Now, it's hard to go and harvest that with machines, which is why we want to have monocultures. And when you do monocultures, you have to do this kind of stuff, right? Pouring fertilizers to make them grow. Whereas
Right.
if you grow the bean and the squash and the corn together, the three sisters together, the bean fixes nitrogen in the soil for the corn to grow, and the squash attracts insects to come and pollinate. Because the squash has these big flowers that attract insects. This is why the three sisters work very well together.
Sounds like a beautiful system to me.
It's a beautiful system, but it requires us to go and harvest by hand. Or you have to figure out how to get robots to go and harvest them, properly.
Yeah.
Which is also an interesting project to build on, if you want
Yeah.
to do that. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so now let's go on to the fourth. So we talked a little bit about it, but the fourth planetary boundary is climate change.
Correct, yeah. So it's the fourth worst transgression, and to me it's the fever that the earth has. And it's actually causing the weather systems to change everywhere. And so we are discovering, things are changing around us. So it's the one thing that we all feel. This is why we know about it more. Biodiversity loss is happening somewhere else, right? Chemical pollution is happening all around us, but it's invisible to us. Of course, we see it in our health deteriorating because we're eating all these dioxin-laden foods and we're getting cancer. But no one is telling us it's because of the dioxin we put into the environment. So this is why we don't know yet what is the root cause, right? So we don't understand the chemical pollution of the planet directly.
Right.
Nitrogen and phosphorus loading, we don't understand it directly. It's happening in the rivers, it's happening in the ocean. Climate change is happening around us. This is why we're able to see it. Now there are other people who will say that this climate change is not caused by us. It's caused by natural forces. And I'm saying, when you're doing things that are impacting the environment, you can expect the environment to respond. So climate change has a distinct human fingerprint.
Some people I hear they say that like the warming that we're currently dealing with now is a natural rhythm, and the planet has certain periods over a long period of time where it warms. What would be your response to that?
Well, there are theories. You have to come up with the underlying theories for why things happen. And those theories have to hold together with all the observational data. Now, the theory of anthropogenic climate change, which scientists have been working on, does hold well together. And it shows that there is an explanation for it based on greenhouse gases, and based on greenhouse gases being the catalytic converters of water vapor on the planet. And that's what causes the climate to change rapidly. Now, the people have come up with other theories, like, the clouds causing, there's a cloud that's causing this to happen, and it's the change in the cloud formation that's causing that to happen. And it's all from natural, the sun causing that to happen. Now, those theories don't hold well together. There are lots of things that they cannot explain. And there's a whole, science debate that's happening around it. Now, to me, that's secondary. I'm a systems engineer. I don't look at the science very deeply. I look at every aspect of the systems, that how do you solve them based on the current understanding of science. I do know that once we start implementing it, we may have to adapt based on new information that comes out. So we have to have that humility to know that you may not know everything to begin with. Right?
Yeah.
So climate change to me is a fever that the earth has, and we know, we are measuring the fever. We know that her temperature has gone up, and there is a plausible explanation that is due to human causes. And that explanation tells us that when we restore forests, the temperature will come down.
All right, which goes right into the next boundary. So the fifth planetary boundary would be land system change.
Correct, yeah. So we have changed the land systems by basically chopping down trees. We have cut down half the trees on the planet. There used to be 6 trillion trees. Now there are only 3 trillion trees. And we have basically chopped down forests and turned the forests into grazing land for our animals. Okay? And that's how we have caused this land system to change. Now, when we restore the ecosystems of the planet, we'll be bringing back the trees that we cut. And if the current climate change theory is correct, you will see the temperature come down as you reduce the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And the trees suck up that excess greenhouse gases. Okay? Now, if the temperature does not come down, then we have to have a different explanation for it. Then we can look for why is that the case. So this is why I say that whether you're arguing about climate change being a natural phenomenon or a human caused phenomenon, you need to support the transformation to a vegan world as quickly as possible. Okay, there should be no daylight between us on that. Okay? And once we implement that, we can go back to that other argument. Is it caused by human beings, or is it caused by... And we will see that. We will understand that right away.
Right. So going to the next one. So the 6th would be freshwater change.
Correct, yeah. So we have dammed the rivers. We have interfered with the water cycle of the planet by cutting down forests. Forests are part of the water cycle of the planet. So the planet has a system for converting salt water into fresh water and to purify the water through plants and trees. So we have interfered in that system, and that change in the freshwater cycles of the planet is causing animals to die. And that's the sixth planetary boundary, that transgression. And again, to restore the freshwater cycles of the planet, if we go vegan and we bring back the forest that we cut, you will restore the freshwater cycles of the planet. So it repairs that as well. So that's going vegan addresses all of these transgressions. You know, that's why it is the first step that we need to take worldwide.
Right. So just going through the last three, which they relate to the first six, really. So the last three are ocean acidification, atmospheric aerosol loading, and stratospheric ozone depletion. Maybe you just want to go through those quickly each.
Right. Ocean acidification. The ocean is becoming more acidic as we increase the CO2 in the atmosphere. The CO2 dissolves in the ocean water and becomes carbonic acid, and that acid makes the ocean more and more acidic. When the ocean becomes more acidic, the shelled animals are not able to create their own shells, and therefore they start dying out. Right? And that impacts the bottom of the food chain. And so then the ocean starts dying. So the ocean acidification has now been rated as violating. It's not in the green zone anymore. It's now in the yellow zone. So it just crossed the boundary. The seventh boundary is ocean acidification. Right. Atmospheric aerosol loading is when we burn fossil fuels, we are causing sulfur dioxide and other aerosols to be put into the atmosphere. And that can come down as acid rain and kill life, right? And that is not yet in the yellow zone. It's still in the green zone. So we haven't yet crossed the boundary on that. But the more fossil fuels you burn, the more you're going to cause that to transgress. To address that, you have to first, change the system so that you don't need that much energy, right? And then we can address that automatically. So we have to get rid of growth as a master objective in our system. So I'll go through all of that in later chapters.
Wonderful. And then last one, stratospheric ozone depletion.
Yeah, stratospheric ozone depletion is caused mainly by chlorofluorocarbons being used in our systems. It's again a chemical pollution, right? Part of the chemical pollution. And that particular chemical goes up there into the stratosphere and then depletes the ozone. So it creates holes in the ozone layer. And the ozone layer is shielding us from ultraviolet radiation that would kill us. When the ozone hole was discovered in the 80s, they found it was caused by chlorofluorocarbons, and DuPont was one of the main manufacturers of that chemical. And DuPont came up with an alternate chemical that does the same function for refrigeration, but that doesn't cause the ozone hole to be depleted. And so they substituted that chemical in new refrigerators. And it was a solution that allowed us to grow the economy. This is why it was implemented immediately. So the ozone hole is now closing over time. We are seeing it close, and therefore it's no longer in the yellow zone. It's in the green zone now.
All right. So when you go through, so there's the 9 planetary boundaries. Currently, we've transgressed 7 since 2009. But the interesting thing is these are all very intricately linked, and there's one tie back that you highlight so clearly in There Is a Planet B.
Right. Yeah, these are all self-reinforcing feedbacks in different systems. And when they started the analysis in 2009, there were 3 transgressions in 2009. It became 4 transgressions in 2015, 6 transgressions in 2023, and 7 transgressions in 2025. So I see this as the planetary fire growing, right? And so I see the planetary boundary transgressions picture itself as a fire around the planet. And
Yeah.
and that you can actually put out the fire if you go vegan. If all of us go vegan, we can address all 7 of the planetary boundary transgressions simultaneously. Okay, and then as we change to a planet B system, you will make sure that all planetary boundaries stay in the green zone forever. That is how you need to design a new system. That it allows us to monitor the planetary boundaries and stay in the green zone forever. It addresses our human health issues, it addresses our social justice issues. It's like, I see nature as the perfect system design. And nature has told us, if you are compassionate to all life, I'll let you live.
That's so simple.
Right? Yeah.
So if humanity decides to make the vegan change, how quickly will these 7 of the 9 planetary boundary transgressions be fixed, or at least move in the right direction?
Oh, they will all start moving in the right direction right away. But it's how fast will they do it, or have we done something that has gone beyond the point of no return? Okay, and so I'm most concerned about the first 2, biosphere integrity and novel entities, the chemical pollution. Will we be able to absorb all the chemical pollution with the new trees that we plant?
Right.
And then will we stop putting 30 elephants worth of chemical pollution per person per year? Will that come down? We have to stop that. We have to reduce that as quickly as possible, because the trees cannot absorb over and over. It's not like an infinite sink. It's like you're marinating something in, and it gets marinated so much that it cannot take any more. So those 2 things we won't know until we actually start trying if we have gone beyond the point of no return or not.
Those 9 are intricately connected, and they've kind of transgressed together, but in different speeds. They could all move back because each of them will be addressed very quickly as well.
It's
through
possible.
veganism.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, but this is the best shot we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no one has come up and told me, here is another thing we could be doing that will address all 7. No, not a single other idea have I seen that does all 7.
The next chapter, I really hope people stay on for, because it is extremely fascinating. So chapter 7 is a critical look at the UN IPCC's emissions accounting. This one, honestly, it blew my mind. So I'm very excited to talk to you about it, Dr. Rao, and I hope people are excited for that chapter. But as we close podcast episode number 6, talking about the 9 planetary boundaries, is there anything that you'd like to share for a closing message?
I'm excited that we have a chance to solve these problems and become an essential part of this web of life.
Yeah,
So
that's so
thank you
beautiful.
for that.
And thank you, Dr. Rao. So I encourage everyone, read the book. There is a Planet B. Give it to friends. It's very eye-opening. So we'll, of course, continue on. But thank you, Dr. Rao, for all your efforts. And it's a pleasure to be with you on the Planet B podcast.
This has been a podcast from Planet B, where empathy scales. If you haven't moved here yet, we thank you for visiting.
Go ahead, Danny.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. My question is, what is the meaning, or why are they called, oh, I'm dark. I'm sitting in the dark. It's nice. Why are they called novel entities or novel chemicals? I don't understand the definition.
Well, it's not, they are novel entities. There are the total of about 150,000 different chemicals that we synthesized in the laboratories. So it's like some chemical engineers figured out how to create these chemicals in order to implement a certain process, right? These chemicals were never there in nature. We created them in the lab.
Okay.
Okay. So it's hard to know how nature can process these chemicals.
Right.
And because nature always has these cycles, right, that close the loop. And what we are finding is that a lot of these novel chemicals, novel entities that we produce, like plastic, right? I mean, plastic breaks down into microplastic and then it stays there in the environment. We don't know how nature is going to get rid of these. How is it going to process it back to what it knows as part of life? And a lot of the novel chemicals are being stored in trees.
Okay.
That's what we know. Because it's in the water, and the trees filter out these novel chemicals and store them in their trunks. And they then transpire pure water through the leaves. So the trees become the filters of the planet.
Mm.
And they're storing all these extra chemicals that we put into the environment, and they're storing them in their trunks. Now at the same time we are cutting down the trees.
Right.
So there are fewer and fewer trees year after years. And when we cut down trees and burn them, we are sending the chemicals back
Wow.
into the environment. There are a lot of these chemicals are persistent chemicals. They don't go away. Okay. And this is why I've been trying to convince all the engineering institutions of the world, you need to readdress all your curriculum. Know that this is part of these new chemicals that you cook up. There are consequences to it, right? I mean, the trees are trying to store them, but they're being marinated. They're marinating in it because every year we're putting another 220 billion tons. So when you start marinating things, at some point it cannot take anymore.
Are
And
they
that's why it is in the purple zone now. We don't know if life can continue with this kind of chemical dosing that she's getting.
and are they called novel because they're man-made?
They're man-made, and nature has never seen them before, as far as we know, because we are creating them with processes that don't normally occur.
So I have a follow-up. I read recently that there are worms now that can eat plastic.
Yeah.
Is it, and I don't know what their poop is once they eat the plastic. But I mean, is there a factor that because we don't know, is nature always creating and inventing?
Yeah, nature is also inventing, right? So nature is saying, okay, these new things that show up, then some species figures out how to turn that into food, but it takes
Mm-hmm.
time for that to
Mm-hmm.
happen, and
Yeah.
and then tries to process it,
Right.
right? I mean, eventually, some of these novel chemicals, nature will eventually figure out what to do with them, but in the process, we may all die out, because in
Yeah.
the past, when we look right, at past extinction events, it took a few million years for life to recover.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I'm concerned, I mean, few million years is too long. I mean, we're going to be
Right.
dead,
Yeah.
right? And so even if nature recovers, we won't be around to experience that.
Mm.
Right?
Thank you.
So,
Yeah. Thank you very much.
this is why it's important for us to be cognizant of what these things are doing and to change our processes so that you're trying to not create these novel entities, but create waste that's part of what nature already knows what to do with.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sai.
Hi, Dr. Rao. Uh, it was eye-opening today what you explained about dioxins. Actually, I didn't know that before. Uh, Is there any alternative to that? I was just wondering. I'll look it up. But my question was regarding novel entities. How is that linked to veganism? Number one, how will
Hmm.
that get reversed when if we go vegan?
Right, right.
Because we're pouring 220 billion tons, and also you mentioned in your book more than a lakh types of new chemicals, if I'm not wrong.
150,000, yeah.
150,000, right? So how does veganism addresses that? Number one. And
Hmm.
also, the first thing which struck to me when I saw that visual of the nine planetary boundaries, the novel entities looks to be the most transgressed visually. So just
Well,
wanted to clarify
it's
that.
wider because the biosphere integrity, they split it into two. They call it functional biodiversity and what is that, natural diversity, something like that. So anyway, they split that into two. When they say functional diversity, what they're saying is, yeah, we have killed off the deer, we've killed off all these other animals, but we have cows to replace them with. Right? So they're arguing that these new animals that we have created and we are proliferating can take over the functions of the animals that we killed off. Now, they are not identical. They're not going to do exactly the same thing. And it's unclear whether they really are perfect substitutes. So I don't look at that, even though they split it into two, because it's a way to
Mhm.
appease the animal agriculture industry, saying, yeah, you've done it, but it's not a big problem. Right?
Mhm.
So we have to really look at the original ecosystems and the unique functions that each animal was doing in that original ecosystem. Now,
Mhm.
novel entities, the way veganism addresses that is by when the world goes vegan, you can return 40% of the land back to nature, on which you can regrow 3 trillion trees. Okay? So you can grow an additional 3 trillion trees, and those trees, as they grow, will suck up the chemical pollution and store them in their trunks. So they do the cleanup work for us. Okay? That's how they address the novel entities. Now, of course, if you keep pouring 220 billion tons every year for the next 50 years, you're going to overwhelm them too.
Yep.
So this is why
Yeah.
it's important that we change all our processes. I mean, all the entire education system for engineers needs to be revamped. It's not okay to say, yeah, go cook up any chemical you want and go stick it out there and let nature figure this out. No, no more. Okay? You have to understand your how are you cycling the waste through nature. So sustainability should be built into every aspect of the curriculum in engineering colleges. Okay, in
Okay.
every institution.
Mm.
So, so, so not
But
only I mean, veganism addresses it, but at the same time, we need to change how much we produce every year.
I still don't understand how veganism addresses the pouring chemicals part of the
It
problem.
doesn't address
I
the pouring
understand.
chemical. It doesn't address the pouring
Okay.
chemicals part. It
Like,
addresses this. What is there, it sucks it up. So this is
okay.
why, yeah, there's a whole system transformation that needs to happen that also minimizes pouring new chemicals. Like, you know, if you're using paper, be happy with brown paper.
Yeah, yeah. Now I have to look at that.
Yeah,
Uh, yep.
right.
That's a
Uh,
big thing. But I mean, because I'm planning to publish books, that's why it's a big thing for me. Uh, so what I'm saying is like these two out of these 220 billion tons and these 150,000 chemicals,
hmm.
how many of them are related to animal agriculture, like pouring the chemicals part?
uh, I don't know the breakdown of that. Animal agriculture
Mm.
uses a lot of chemicals for uh, the industrial process itself, for
Mm-hmm.
first raising the animals and then for killing them and then cleaning their skin to turn them into leather. So there's a lot of chemicals being used in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how much of the 220 billion tons is broken down.
Okay.
I have references for the total,
Okay. All right. But to my original question, like the novel entity seems to be the most transverse. Not, I'm not talking about how wide it is, like the red zone, that part. It looks to me, it's more than biosphere integrity. I'm not sure.
No, biosphere integrity, it it actually sticks out 1,000 times.
Oh.
Okay, it's 1,000 times the background rate. So they just put these hazy lines, so I mean the hazy dots, to say that it keeps going.
So, by the way, now that you mentioned a very big point where functional diversity they're trying to appease to animal agriculture. So, just like the way you question UN IPCC, shouldn't you question the very foundations of this whole planetary doctors thing? The like because they created this functional diversity, there's some holes in this whole thing also, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. You have to take everything with, no, you have to take everything with some skepticism. But I begin with the assumption that scientists are trying to do the best they can, but they are getting pressure. Don't show that. Show this better. Is the better way of showing it, etc. They get pressure, but the data is there.
There was a documentary on this planetary boundaries, the tipping point, if you know, in
Right. There
Netflix.
is one, yeah, on Netflix.
There is
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and towards the end, I was at least happy to know that they promoted plant-based diet, but they
Mhm.
don't say the word vegan. They say largely plant-based, plant-based.
Right.
And the scientist who worked on this, he does fishing. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's a bad thing, unfortunately.
They send all these subtle signals saying it's animal agriculture industry is still sacred. Don't touch it. Right. You can
Mm.
cut down, but they know when you cut down, someone else is going to increase their consumption. So the industry still
Yeah.
continues to grow. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Pooja.
Hi, Dr. Sailesh. I was reading this section from a book called Regeneration Ending the Climate Crisis in One Generation. And there, the author spoke about how important animals are for restoring the fertility of the soil, the organic
Hmm.
matter, and also suggested that we have a diversity of animals,
Right.
not just one species, but multi species.
Hmm.
We know that humans are not in the loop to fertilize the soil, but even if humans come into the loop, it wouldn't be a diversity. So I want to know how important is this for restoring soil fertility?
Yeah, well, diversity of animals, you can do that with wild animals, right? You don't have to put your farmed animals. See, when someone says we need animals and then they have the same monoculture of cows and goats, and then they eat them, the motivation is different. Okay, number one. Number two, you can also compost uh, plant matter directly. You don't have to go through an animal. I agree that the animal is able to convert um, plants into manure faster. Okay, it
Mm,
comes out as poop. But the animal also metabolizes 1/3 of what she eats and sends it up as CO2.
right.
Okay, whereas if you directly compost, you can minimize that. You don't have to send 1/3 up as CO2. Right?
If wild animals would be in the forest, right? Like, would they? How would we do it in agriculture? Where,
Agriculture is not about raising animals. It's about getting food for yourself. So the
yeah.
intention is to get food for yourself, and
Mm,
for that you really don't need to grow farmed animals.
mm,
Okay, so this idea of separating nature out, nature is out there, and this is our food, and we have to put a fence around it and protect it. That idea needs to go away. You have
right.
to do agroecology where you can grow food along with the animals, along with the wild animals.
Mhm.
Okay, and grow them in excess so that wild animals can have their, can eat, and then you also have enough to harvest for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it all, we need to start thinking in integrated terms as opposed to separate terms. how do we separate it out? And yeah, like I was in India where I was in a village where they were trying to prevent elephants from eating their sugarcane crops.
Mm.
Now, the sugarcane is intended for the elephant. I mean, human beings cannot eat sugarcane directly. Have you tried chewing on something on a sugarcane? It's such thick skin, you cannot get into it, right? Whereas the elephant just takes the entire sugarcane and eats it. It's the food of the elephant originally. This is why the elephant wants to eat it. Okay? But we grow just sugarcane and then we put electric fences around it and we electrocute the elephants when they try to come through. And that to me is a wrong model for how do you work with the elephants. Grow an abundance of sugarcane, let the elephant eat some, and you get the rest. Yeah.
Is there enough models on veganic agriculture? Is there enough?
Yeah. There is please look up the work of Greg Lightus at Colorado State University. He's done a lot of work. And then Nassim Nobari at Seed the Commons. She's done a lot of work. So people are doing work on veganic agriculture to show that you really don't need to enslave animals just to get food for yourself.
Right. I'm very interested in this. I'll look this up.
Yeah. And in India, there is Jiva Bhavana.
Yeah.
It's an organization called Jiva Bhavana with Madhavi Kolte, and she's done a lot of good work on this as well.
I've seen that. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Hello there.
Okay, I'll put the name in the chat. Names in the chat. Greg Lightus. He was actually featured in Cowspiracy, Greg Lightus. And Madhavi Kolte. And Nassim Nobari. Yeah, those are 3 contacts. Go ahead, Barb.
Oh, okay. Well, when you were talking about plastics, I started thinking about when you go in the store and there's plastics everywhere. Everything is plastic. And by this time, we really should have a lot more eco things in the store. I do see some, it's either silicone or silicon or something like that they're making things out of. But there's like no push to really buy those. They're still making the plastic, And at first, I guess my question started out being, how can we get these companies to, commit to being vegan or commit to being eco? And how can we teach them that we want to have everything kind? But I know a little of it is what we buy. We have to start buying whatever eco products there are. And so that was like one solution, but otherwise, yeah, I was just kind of like wondering, how can we speed this up? I always feel like I want to get a whole company to switch or something.
Right. There are nowadays there are stores that do plastic free, plastic free stores. I know in Europe they have those, and in the UK they have those, where you have to bring your own containers, and you measure. You can measure it in a paper bag and take it with you. So it's all in bulk, and you just measure and take what you need.
Right. Okay.
Like I remember in the 70s when we were growing up in India, there was no plastic. We used to use newspapers to wrap things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's just become more convenient, right? Things are being packed in one place and it's all sealed, and then it comes to you in plastic.
Yeah.
And the more we become community oriented, the less packaging we need.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Get
All right.
barrels of things, get barrels of lentils. You don't need a, £1 each.
Okay.
The-
Yeah. And then the other thing that I was writing down, and I'm not really even sure why I was writing it because I'm not sure exactly how it can tie into the whole thing, but I just know that, see, I like that idea of veganic gardening a whole lot. I really love that, and veganic growing of croplands and all of that. And I know it can be grown on a large scale because it has been up in Canada and a few places pretty large scale. But I also know that when we have animal agriculture, they are actually taking cow poop and they're mixing, in some places they mix PFAs in with the cow poop, and it's something where I think I don't know who buys what from who, but it's a business transaction. Either the farm, I know the water department has to get rid of their biosolids and all of that and all their crap, and so their answer is to spread it over the fields. And so it's like so we have PFAs going over the fields, and then they have some laws that are against it in some states, but now some of those laws are being repealed currently, and so it's just like, I don't know. It's like we have to go veganic, but it's just this huge step. And if you, like you said, if we stop breeding cows, that would solve an awful lot of problems because even the manure is a problem.
Yeah, the manure
Yeah.
is being produced in quantities that the earth cannot process at that rate.
Yeah.
That's so we will go through that in future chapters. I show how the biomass is so much bigger than what nature had 10,000 years ago. Okay, and so this is why the waste production is at an order of magnitude greater than what nature can sustainably process.
I've got to learn exactly what an order of magnitude is.
Like 10x, 10 times.
10 times is an order of magnitude. Okay.
Roughly 10 times is an order of magnitude.
Oh, okay.
So, 5 to 20 is like an order of magnitude. And if you say 50 to 200, it's like 2 orders of magnitude. That's what we mean in engineering.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Yeah.
I think that's all really, I was just like, this is what comes to my brain and this is what I say.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, we've run out over time. So thank you very much for this. And tomorrow I won't be here, but it's a rather long chapter tomorrow. So actually I'm traveling for the next 3 days, I believe. So the Q&A won't be there, but you will have the broadcast being broadcast every day. And I'll be back on Sunday for extended Q&A.
Do you have time for that question from the YouTube?
Sure. What is this? How hopeful are you that people will go vegan fast enough? How many vegans do we need? Is it too late? Do all the wars impact climate? And is that even studied? Yeah, all the wars impact climate. And how hopeful am I that everyone will go vegan, that people will go vegan fast enough? I'm of the opinion that nature knows what she's doing. Okay, so she's waking us up. She's triggering these things to happen all over the world. So it is happening I wish it was faster, but I'm going to have faith that it's going to happen fast enough. Okay, so it's sort of a circular argument. and of course, I'm going to do everything in my power to accelerate it. Yeah, and we all need to do that. So it's like, if like we did last chapter, if you know the house is on fire and your sister is sitting in the next room, you should tell her. You shouldn't say, let her find out on her own. Okay. So it's not too late. It's never too late. It's always the right time to do the right thing. So, so please keep at it and let's get this done. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this journey that we are on.
Thank you, Dr. Rao, and safe travels.
Thank you, Sister Carol.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
The house is burning, but we're still sitting in the glow. Phones charged, lights on, pretending we don't know. But the forest is silent, the river's running low, and the flame on our plates is the strongest fire we throw. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. 7 boundaries broken, the earth pushed past the line. Climate, land, species, fresh water, chemicals, nutrients, oceans in decline. Not danger, disaster in real time. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Metafoodians rise, this is your power. And here in India, one truth stands the same. Milk is not just milk, dairy feeds the flame. Cows and methane, fields and forests turn to grain. Politics, culture, carbon, all wired to the same chain. Every cup of curd is heat in the air, every block of butter is a forest repair. It's not a small habit, it's a planetary affair. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is our hour. Energy fixes half the hurt, Dr. Rao made that clear. But food fixes the other half, the half that's burning here. Change the plate, change the land, change the future's atmosphere. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Metafoodians unite, this is your choir. Every millet, every fruit, every sapseed, every bean is water on the wildfire of a world we've never seen. Every oil-free bite is a river turning clean. This is not perfection, it's direction. Not pressure, but protection. A week of choices can cool a generation. A company's courage can ignite a nation. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. Metafoodians unite, Metafoodians ignite, sharing love in the metazone, light in the path to a cooler home. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Together we rise, together we inspire.
Hello, team. Hey there, I just had a question about spotlighting because while I was talking to Dr. Rao, Sai was put on. Who is doing the spotlighting and are we breaking it up?
I'm put I highlight the next person that comes on, and then if somebody's here, somebody else takes the next person off after they've had a chance to say thank you. And
Because I was on and Sai was on at the same time.
right, that's
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
do it. We're letting people both be on at the same time. You're finishing up your question, and the next person comes in, or they say thank you, and I immediately bring them up.
See, that
But
I thought would be more organized. You wait till the end that I'm done and then spotlight the next person.
it just saves a second, you know, just saves a second or two. And if we're not sure that you're finished, like sometimes somebody's talking and you think they're finished and we have a line, and if we wait too long, then they start another question or they ramble.
Okay, so should I bother spotlighting it all or have you got it or somebody else doing it?
Yeah, I'm spotlighting the person when they come on, and if you're there, it'd be great. I thought Shankar was doing it tonight, but yeah, if somebody else will take the other person off, that's simple. But if not, I can. Yeah, either way.
I
And
just
so,
think we should clarify that before who's doing what before we get on. Shankar, are you up? Are you going to be here every night or
so
it's
each
like
Yeah,
each night each night we can decide that. I think
okay, perfect.
yeah.
That's great.
yeah.
Thank
I'll be
you.
in the evenings. Yeah. So, but I still have that question. Like, we still can't record the cloud, right? That part, I know. I don't.
Uh-oh.
See, that's what I put the message. You
So
can
we
edit
got
it,
some
right?
of the questions at the end, so I don't know if somebody wants to edit that off before we post it,
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, they can edit it off.
okay, very good.
Yeah.
And then it'll be go ahead, Shankar. You had a question because I do want to tell you something before you say.
Yeah. So, is it possible to record the Zoom in the cloud, or is it just
Yeah, you
desktop?
can record to the cloud, except that we are using the cloud to record all the podcasts, and yeah, and we think we have enough for all the podcasts. But beyond that, if we start adding more, it can go over the 10 gigabyte limit, right?
Okay.
So if you can, so these things, if you can record on your computer and then upload it for Mac to use, that would be the easiest.
Okay.
I mean, some of the cloud, I think now I can delete some of the older ones because Amit has already processed them and create some
Okay.
space. Yeah.
And so, Sailesh, you're going to not be here in the mornings and the afternoons till the weekend?
Correct. Yeah, because I'm flying in between, and so I'm saying don't expect me for the next 3.5 days.
Okay.
Okay.
And
And
then
if
do
I
we have,
come in, if I come, it's because I'm in between flights and I'm sneaking in.
okay.
Yeah.
So then instead, are we going to allow people to ask questions and save the chat and somehow feed it to you? Or no, it's just
No,
going to
no.
be the
Tell them to
podcast.
come on Sunday and ask me the questions.
Okay. So it'll just be the half-hour podcast for the next couple of days.
Correct. Yeah. After the
Okay.
podcast, then you can just play the ending and say, okay. Because
Okay.
everybody knows. Yeah.
And we'll put something in the chat so that
Right.
they know that you may pop in, but save their questions for Sunday. And
Correct.
Danny, you and I can write something up.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. Safe travels. My goodness.
Thank you.
I
Thank
want
you.
to tell you that one of the things that slows me down is that if I open the screen ready to share the video and it's all the way full, then it's hard for me to find the play button. So I'm just going to open it big and hit play and then expand it. And so I just wanted to, I don't know if you knew that, Shankar. And also sometimes it will cover up my Zoom. So then I have to go down to the bottom and try to find Zoom again so I can get the you know,
Usually Zoom puts a menu right on top, and then
yeah.
if you hover over the menu, it gives you the rest.
Well, what happens is I watch that the whole time. I see the menu and everything, and then when I share it at the end, the bar is gone. I
Where
know
it hides.
it hides. I close the window so I can see, and so that's why I had to go down to the bottom and finally find it. And I was like, oh my gosh. So,
All right.
okay. But anyway, yeah, it still worked good. I don't know, the front part wasn't all that smooth, but who should I give it to edit, Mac or Amit?
Uh, it'll be Mac, I think, because I mean, this is just the live stream, right? So there is already a live stream
On
on
YouTube,
YouTube. Yeah. I don't know if he wants this or not. I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll see if he will do that so we can put it on Facebook because that's where I had
Right.
some friends. And I met some more people. I didn't see them come on, but I did invite them.
Right. Yeah.
Have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, and a good trip. And we'll see you
Yeah.
Saturday.
Okay. See you then.
Okay.
So safe travels.
Thank
enjoy
you,
your trip.
everybody.
Thank you.